Been getting some buzz all around the internet the last couple of days about the possibility of a Avengers Doomsday leaked trailer. Now, let me give you a little bit of a background here because for you to officially watch the trailer, you have to go watch the new Avatar movie that's supposed to be releasing this Friday, technically Thursday, and that's where the trailer is first going to be dropped. And then it ended up being, all right, we're going to get four trailers, but we never got a description. Now, this is alleged based off of what we've just watched, and this is fresh off the presses. Like we're talking about like a blurry version, and we don't really have confirmation, but looking at most of the articles online, that this is an actual scene trailer from the Avengers Doomsday. So I'm gonna break it down as much as I possibly can, and in a little description where we get the first look at Steve Rogers. This is, I want to say, in the time where he decided he wanted to stay back and be with Peggy after he returned the Infinity Stones, which, by the way, Steve Rogers played by Chris Evans, if anybody's wondering about the possible return. And we see him put his helmet on his bike, and he goes inside his house, and he's holding a baby. And then that's all we see of the trailer. But like I said, there's supposed to be four trailer scenes coming out, and I believe this is the first one that has just recently been linked. But just wanted to get your thoughts on the possibility of this being the first trailer.
This is crazy. All I'm gonna say is whoever leaked it probably lost their job in Disney. But I mean, overall, kind of sucks that we actually have to go watch the new Avatar this week and actually to catch a teaser trailer of the Avengers. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Avatar, but I might end up having to go if it's true, if this article is really telling the truth. But overall, what we watched, I feel like they're telling the truth. I feel like this isn't made up. I
You think
really
it's
do
real?
feel like I think it's real. I'm gonna take a leap of faith and I'm gonna say this shit is real. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying that because I'm really dying. I'm thirsty for this trailer, but I can't wait for this movie to come out. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, so well, let me ask you. Start off with Chris Evans coming back as Steve Rogers. You on board with that, or?
Oh yeah, I'm on board. Right, you can't go wrong with one of the goats. You can't go wrong with Chris Evans.
Yeah, so I was thinking at first that he was going to come back as what was that, Captain Hydra? What do they call
Captain
that?
Hydra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought he was going to come back as Captain Hydra, but if we get Steve Rogers, Captain America back, that could be a little bit controversial. We got shoot, technically three Captain Americas.
I mean, this is gonna be a multiverse film. So I mean, of course, we gotta tie up loose ends. And also, like, I mean, I think we said this in the last palette. Like, we kind of want to see what happened when Cap returned the Infinity Stones at the end of Endgame. I mean, as we all should recall, or if you haven't watched the movie, please do, because spoiler alerts. If you have watched the movie at the end of Endgame, they had to return the Infinity Stones, and the one who stood up to actually take the task was Captain America, aka Steve Rogers, Chris Evans. They took the stones from certain timelines in order to get the Infinity Stones, in order to snap everybody back. As we know it, by taking the Infinity Stones, you created alternate universes that were creating branch timelines. In order to stop those branch timelines from existing, you had to return the Infinity Stones in the exact moment it was taken. So, as we know, Captain America was the one to go return the Time Stone, and he didn't come back. He came back as Old Man Cap. As we know, he passed the shield to Sam Wilson, and he's the new Captain America. Long story short, we all wanted to know what it was like for Captain America to go back. And this is where, like, I think we're finally getting some type of closure. And I'm kind of excited to see where we're going on with this. I think he went, if my mind can remember, I think it was the 1940s, 1950s. I'm going to probably say like 1948, 1949 is when he went back to live his life with Peggy Carter. So he got a whiff of that taste that Tony Stark was telling him, go get a life, and he lived it with Peggy Carter. As we know, she bad in real life though. But I mean, he got that dance he wanted with Peggy at the end, and I mean, it was a nice touch to it. But at the end of the day, as most fans wanted to know, even myself included, what did he do? What did he see when he returned the Infinity Stones, and why didn't he come back? And this is crazy. So I see, if this is like I stated earlier, I'm really gonna take a leap of faith that this shit is true. But if we're gonna go and say that this trailer is true, I kind of like how the Russo brothers are doing it. We're gonna kind of bypass all the phases that just happened and just go straight to the point where we last left off in Endgame. And kind of, I guess in a way, if you really want to be honest, kind of wish-wash and try to make the audience forget the last couple phases. As we all know, it hasn't been that great. And to be honest with you, nobody really cares to recap what happened in the past or the future. But I'm kind of excited to see how this goes, because if they're going back and touching up what they left off Endgame, this is pretty interesting. That means something happened that was very important. As we all know, like, there was rumors that this ties into Endgame. So somewhere down the line, somebody messed up. We just got to figure out the answer. Who was it?
Like, there's so many different screw-ups from the end of Endgame to now that it can be anybody. And now, if you think about it, is really any of this stuff prior to this movie coming out after Endgame, any of it canon, if we're being honest?
What do you mean?
There's literally like no ties whatsoever. Like, obviously we have our branch off stories after Endgame, but not really anything after Endgame has really stuck. So,
I mean, depending on how you view the movies going forward, like, I mean, the phases hasn't been that great. I mean, overall, we haven't had a real Avengers squad. Everybody's been asking. The Avengers had dismantled or separated or broke up like a band again. They're pretty much fighting themselves, or they're out in their own adventures trying to live their life, I guess, in a way. But as we know it, you know, there are certain things that are going around that is too much going on. It's too much to capture, too many characters all at once. And there's too many storylines that seems to intertwine, but also don't. And also, don't even get me started with the end credit scene, because some of them don't even make sense anymore, because we're not even getting continuations to certain end credit scenes. As we know, the Eternals is one of them. Doctor Strange's out there trying to save an incursion, which actually, by the way, Doctor Strange 3 is supposed to happen. What's another one? Miss Marvel is creating her own Avenger squad, but I don't think that's happening. And I don't even know what happened to Shang-Chi. I know he got recruited on the Avenger squad in his own movie, and then we just tend to forgot that he exists. And
yeah, he was with Wong. Well, he got hooked up with Wong, and then
it just
we got a post-credit scene about the rings, how it being a beacon, but
that was it. I mean, that's all we got. And Bruce Banner has a son, but we're not talking about that no more. She-Hulk kind of ruined it for everybody, but overall, like, I mean, I'm trying to remember.
Stop right there. I feel like she should have been the replacement. Out of all the woke shit,
I don't know.
Excuse me, everyone. Out of all the woke shit, that should have been the perfect replacement right there. She-Hulk for Hulk.
If you give and take the Professor Hulk, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that character. I mean, at first it was funny, but now I just kind of feel like the joke is just running too long. It's not even that funny anymore. But overall, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on that we're just never gonna get. One other thing too. If you talk about the Eternals, Blade, like, what happened with that?
It's still in production.
I'm still waiting. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm still waiting for Kevin Feige. Give me Blade. That's all I'm asking for. But I don't know. I just feel like there's too much going on. Like I stated earlier, I just feel like we just need to not forget, but let's just move on and move forward. Okay, the phases happen. We're probably never going to get a lot of closure with these characters. That's fine. Let's just wrap up the storylines and wrap up and finish whatever we can and try to connect as much as possible and just move forward and then reset the timeline and reset the universe with new actors, new characters, and some characters that are going to be still taking the mantle, but probably passing it along to the younger generation.
So you got me thinking that Captain America allegedly is in the first trailer, Chris Evans. Mm-hmm. Now, you brought up we get to have some type of, touch up on what he was doing after he returned the Infinity Stones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's something you should have made a show about.
Like, facts.
That is something out of all the bullcrap ideas that they had for these TV shows, WandaVision, Captain Winter Soldier, and Sam Wilson show. That was actually
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good. But yeah, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, like out of all those shows, that should have been the number one priority as far as if that was going to. Well, obviously they didn't know what they were going to do, but I really feel like they should have made a TV show of Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter after the events of Endgame.
I do agree with you. I mean, there's a lot of things they could have done. I mean, they killed off a lot of the OG characters, and then we got the new characters that are moving on, like Sam Wilson taking the mantle and all that. And I ain't gonna lie to you, some of this stuff was just kind of wishy-washy. But if I recall, Chris Evans didn't want to come back. That's why we didn't get the closure that we wanted. And I think this is what the Russo brothers knew we were feeding on. What did Captain America do? I mean, there's a lot of crazy theories out there going on the internet. And I'm going to tell you one of them because it had me kind of thinking and it blew my mind. Pause. But I'm going to tell you what I heard the other day that has me thinking, like, how possible, like, all this could really, like, intertwine with each other and how, like, the plot twist could probably be a surprise. And it's probably hidden in plain sight that they're not even going to tell us, but it's probably in front of us and we don't even see it the whole time. I was watching a TikTok video the other day. If you recall in Endgame, when they did the heist, when they stole the Infinity Stones, remember that conversation that Hulk had with the Sorcerer Supreme?
Yeah.
Back in 2012?
Well, it's the time travel rule. If you're going to take something, you have to put it back in the exact place and time.
But what happens when you don't do that?
It calls an incursion, if I'm not mistaken.
And creates branch timelines that branches off, that creates other branches, to create other branches, so forth and so forth. It is a continuous loop, which therefore it causes incursions. So I heard a wild theory that when back in 2012, when they were trying to steal the Tesseract, which was the third and final stone they were trying to steal, because they got the Time Stone and I can't remember the other stone, but you know what I'm talking about.
When they were trying to steal in the ether,
and the Soul Stone.
The soul. Well, the soul.
Mm-hmm. Remember, they went to go get the Soul Stone on I can't remember the name of the planet. Nowhere. Yep, correct. And then you had the Space Stone, which was the Tesseract. So this is where the theory comes along. Because, remember, they only stole 2 out of the 3 Infinity Stones. Therefore, it caused Tony and Steve to go further back in time to grab a time where the Tesseract was under control of the U.S. government. So, what if that Tony, back in 2012, remember they gave him a heart attack. Ant-Man took the plug from his reactor, pulled it out in order for everybody to have a scene and be like, oh snap, what happened to Tony? Which caused the suitcase to open up. Hulk ended up hitting Tony, the future Tony, knocking out the other Tony, and then the suitcase moves up, and then Loki sees the Tesseract, grabs the Tesseract, and then leaves. Which is where this whole theory starts. Because as we know it, when we did the Loki TV show, when he disappeared somewhere else with the Tesseract the TVA came in there and arrested him. Supposedly, the thing is that they didn't prune that timeline. They reset it. This is where the theory gets crazy because I had to go back and rewatch it. They didn't prune that timeline. They reset it, which means that they bombed it. Anything that did not exist in that timeline yet was erased. But that timeline continued moving forward because they needed that Loki in order for him to become the god of time. So, this is where the theory gets crazy. What if Tony, in that timeline in 2012, that had the cardiac arrest, goes back, because he's a genius, goes back, looks at gets curious and looks back at the camera and goes back and finds out who pulled the plug on him. There was two Steve Rogers fighting each other at the same time, and then Loki took the Tesseract. So if that universe wasn't destroyed because it needed to happen, it needed to exist in order for time travel to exist, in order for Kane to conquer, because remember, that is the main timeline, the main branch that needed to exist, and Tony needed to find time travel in order for Kane to get that same ability to time travel and become Kane the Conqueror. Follow me here because this gets really, really crazy.
I have a question before you continue. So, if they reset the timeline, how would Tony know what happened?
Because it wasn't pruned, because the universe wasn't destroyed. It just continued moving forward.
Well, maybe you should define reset, because are we rewinding what happened before that they went back in time to get the Tesseract, or like explain how that works? Because I that's where I'm a little confused.
If you remember in Loki, when they said they prune timelines, right? They destroy branches that are not meant to exist, because there's only one timeline that needs to exist, the sacred timeline.
That is correct. So
that branch ceases to exist when they prune timelines. It goes to oh my God, what's the name of the place that they prune it to? But you know what I'm talking about. They send it to
Purgatory.
Yeah, basically, you know, they send it. They send it. They send it to a certain universe, right? Everything that gets pruned gets sent there.
The void, excuse me.
The void. Yeah, it gets sent to the void. Because they only reset the timeline twice in the Loki TV show. Once when Loki grabbed the Tesseract from 2012, they pruned it, which means that they erased anything that wasn't meant to exist in that timeline at all, period. That means anyone who existed in the future, the past, the present, that wasn't supposed to be there. But as we know, the Avengers had left because they got what they wanted. They had time travel, they left. The reason why the TVA didn't take, or how do I say this, they didn't go after the Avengers because it needed to happen. Time travel needed to exist. Tony needed to find the way to time travel through the multiverse. Pruning basically just destroys anything that isn't meant to exist. The Tesseract got destroyed. It reset and went back to the Avengers Tower. The previous Loki that got arrested ended up going back, but that Loki is an alternate branch timeline that wasn't meant to exist. So, but they took him off the plane of existence and they put him in the void. And that's why he became the god of time. So the timeline didn't change. It just kept moving forward. But what if that Tony was so curious about what happened? What if he did his research, looked through the camera, saw all this, was like, oh snap, there's multiple versions of my people and there's multiple versions of myself. Why? What happened? Then he goes and does the research. He gets crazy. He gets deep into it. Remember, he created Ultron and all that. But this is before that happened. What if that Tony finds out that they end up losing? They have to do the time travel in order to reset the timeline because everybody got snapped. What if this Tony goes deep into the rabbit hole and finds out they end up winning? But what if that's not good enough for Tony? Remember, Tony wanted to create an armor that shield Earth. That's why he created Ultron. But what if this Tony got really deep into the rabbit hole, probably finds out that he's not really the biological son of Howard Stark, that maybe he was adopted, and he finds out he's not actually a Stark. He's actually Victor Von Doom. And then he gets so deep until he finds out he's Victor Von Doom. As we know it, Victor Von Doom is the master of the mystic arts and also a genius. He dabbles in both. What if Tony Stark becomes Victor Von Doom, changes his personality, changes the suit, changes his name, because that's not his real legal name. Hence, we get Victor Von Doom. What if Tony Stark is Victor Von Doom from our main timeline, but from the past? They just happen to find out the future events, which causes him to go down the rabbit hole, that causes him to be crazy. Because at the end of the day, Tony is just trying to save the universe in any means possible. Even if that means he is the villain himself. In a way, you could say that's why Tony and Thanos are pretty much the same characters. They're just trying to do whatever it takes to save their people.
Okay, so I saw this in physical therapy the other day. They had a question up on the board. The physical therapist, which villain was most justified for the actions of what they did? And this is just me totally just being random, but based off of what you just said just now about Doctor Doom, out of all the characters that have been in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you can see all the reasoning for doing what they did wasn't bad.
Facts.
So now it comes full circle. If we're talking about, all right, what was Doctor Doom's reason for him doing what he's doing in Doomsday and the movie after that? He wants to save his timeline. If I'm not mistaken, basically what you're trying to tell me just now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Now I will say this. And this is just me just listening to what you just said to me just now. What's a hard sell for me is the fact that Tony just changes his whole persona to being Doctor Doom. That's the part that's really hard for me to get on board with.
I mean, I can see why it bothers you because you see him as one person, but you also got to think about it like this. It's just a theory, but what if he finds out that his best isn't good enough? That he's got to go a little bit further to push his agenda. Like Thanos said, because this is where the whole thing is Thanos justifying his actions through his actions. Is he a sociopath or is he a psychopath? A psychopath does things knowing that they're wrong. A sociopath does it because he justifies his actions. He thinks what he's doing is right, even though he knows it's wrong. Like Thanos, like as we all knew when we talked about that, Thanos decided to destroy half of his own people because through the movie of the Eternals, we come to find out Celestials grow on a planet as the planet fruit multiplies and
use the life energy
to be born. But Thanos found this out, and Thanos thought by destroying half of the civilization, it would prolong the Celestial from being born, which is pretty crazy. How would you go about telling your people like there's something living in your planet, and if we multiply fruitfully, and we double our numbers in a couple years, we're all gonna die?
They're gonna think you're crazy.
They're gonna think you're crazy, right?
They're doing.
And then,
or we'll cross that road when we get there.
Yeah, it's crazy because nobody will believe you, right? And then, but he does this because he says, "I told my people that we can do genocide," and he's sitting there with a serious face on his look while he's telling Strange on his home planet on Titan, "I suggested genocide. Kindness all alike. Rich, poor, women, children, elderly, the young." And he sat there and he said somebody had to do it. So he did it. But he wasn't able to stop it. That's deep. So he tried to save his own people. but he failed. He is the only, well, not the only one, but he's one out of a handful that are left. Kind of reminds me of like Dragon Ball Z. You only got like a handful of Saiyans left. There's only a handful of Titans left, and that was it. He failed his mission. So if he knows that there's a celestial that's gonna blow up other people's planet, and he thinks by collecting the Infinity Stones would do more justice by snapping half of all life on all the universe in order to save civilization and life, that's crazy. Because that was his way of saying, I'm justifying my actions, but I'm going to be the one who's going to take, how do I say this, the consequences for all life. Like, you're not God. Like, you're not a God. You cannot justify your actions through that. But he's like, I'm a
take the bulk of the responsibility.
I'm an immortal trying to do right, trying to save millions of people before they die, and they don't even know it. And it's like, Jesus Christ, bro. Like, you think he's crazy, but then you really go back and you watch the Eternals, and you're like, I think he might have been right. Because if Tony tried to do the same thing, I could relate to that character because we've seen him as a good guy. But what if he becomes that bad guy? How they say it, to take it back to the Dark Knight, Two-Face, either you die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Those are deep words.
I don't know about that. I'm just thinking about what we saw in Fantastic Four and the where's Doctor Doom from?
What do you mean?
What country is he from?
The actor? Or are you talking about?
I'm talking
like
about Doctor Doom in like I don't know why I want to say Novaria, which is not. It's oh my goodness gracious,
Liberia.
Thank you. Like the representative where they gathered all the world leaders at the beginning of the movie. He was not there.
United Nations, yeah, he was not there.
So that's where I'm like, all right, it's definitely got to be Victor Von Doom, but we didn't get to see him there, which I feel. And then we talk about at the end of the Fantastic Four movie, he was messing with the baby.
Facts.
So,
but I didn't really finish my theory because.
Oh, please continue. My bad.
So to finish it up real quick, because I'm not gonna talk all day about it, because this is where, like I told you, what if he becomes Iron Man and that Iron Man becomes Doctor Doom because he gets deep into the rabbit hole. So this is where I'm gonna get into it real quick to finish it up. Remember, we stated earlier how we needed to return the Infinity Stones the exact moment they left. Yeah. What if that moment that the Tesseract was taken from Loki was that exact moment we were supposed to fix? That's what causes Tony to become who he is. Which, if we go back and think about it, if we go back to the Loki TV show, when Loki is sitting down with the TVA, remember? What's his name?
Owen Wilson's character.
Owen Wilson's character. What was his name again? Morpheus. So remember when Morpheus is sitting down with Loki on that chair, right? And he's showing him his future through the screen. He tells him a story about a child who finds out that he becomes something that he's in the future that he's not supposed to be. He just changes the timeline. He ends up killing over, like, I think it was like, or taking over like 7,000 lives. 70,000 lives, I believe it was. Don't quote me on that. But he took a lot of lives. And he was taken from his home, and he found out he isn't who he is. But they went back in time and come to find out when they were trying to arrest this person was a child who hasn't yet committed the crime. But eventually down the line, he's going to create a crime that not only affects the timeline, it affects over thousands of lives throughout the multiverse. It was a quick story. If you let it go, if you listen to it, it would just go over your head.
I remember the story being told, but the
But what
details
if
of
that
the
was Doctor
story.
Doom?
Yeah, I'm about to go back and rewatch it, but I definitely remember the story at the in the first episode where he was sitting down and he was watching himself. Damn, that's how I die. And then Morpheus tells the
Tells him
story,
a story.
and yeah, it kind of goes over your head
It
when
goes
you
over your
first
head if
watch
you
it.
don't, because when you first watch it, you don't know who he's talking because it's not given a name. And I was sitting there like, and somebody stated that whole scene, and I'm like, I had to go back and rewatch it. But watching it in the beginning, it just goes to your head, and then thinking about it, like Doctor Doom will go through the timeline and destroy multiple, like the incursions, Stark incursions, destroy the multiverse, destroy other timelines, other branches, other universes. He's going to create war, and it's already known that he's going to destroy King the Conqueror.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm still not big on because I really wanted to see Jonathan Majors, but as we all know, we're not getting that. So okay, cool. I'm fine with Doctor Doom becoming the one person that we know. But let's just, I'm okay with the fact that Doctor Doom ends up destroying the Councils of Kane. I'm cool with that. But I'm going to talk about my theory about that later. But overall, what if that time heist was supposed to go perfectly, but because the Tesseract was taken and they didn't prune that timeline because it needed to exist in order for time travel to exist, it just continued going. But that Tony from that particular time went crazy, found out what happened, and maybe, let's just hypothetically say he's not the real Tony Stark. He's not even the biological child of the Starks. Come to find out he was adopted from another country and raised as a spoiled little brat. But that chooses for him, I mean, that the decisions that move forward chooses him to go down the rabbit hole. Remember, he ends up finding the way to time travel. What if he finds it out earlier? What if he goes deep in the hole? What if it changes his mind? What if instead of making him a hero, what if it made him a villain? I could see why they would do that. And I'm not saying this theory is true, but it wowed me to thinking like, that's deep. And then when I saw the interviews with the Russo brothers talking about that they're going to go back and reference Endgame, why? Why are we going to go back to a movie that we've already watched millions of times? For what? What is there to talk about? But then I'm thinking about the whole, the trailer, them talking about Steve Rogers and Peggy. And it just got me thinking, like, what if there was some loose ends? Because it all goes back to Endgame. What if that time heist did not go right? What if things didn't go the way they were supposed to go? What if our team failed? What if that minor little detail of them losing that Tesseract was the very reason that started this incursion? That's to me, that's like, because forget everything that happened in the phases. I'm cool with that. Like, some of us don't like it, some of us do. I'm cool with it. I don't really care to touch about most of the stuff that happened in the phases. That's cool. You got new characters. There's things that are going to be plot holes, stuff that we're never going to talk about. I'm cool with it. Let's just move forward. And one way for them to go back and be like, okay, we're going to fix what you all destroyed or whatever you tried to fix and make it work. We're going to make it work, but we're not really going to reference that. We're just going to go back to our movie. We're going to touch on that. And we're going to make it the main focus for the next two movies. And I'm thinking, like, that's fucking genius. No wonder why they went back to the Russo brothers. No wonder why it felt like it was just like
they went back to
a
the
money
roots.
grab. They went back to their roots. Because they realized at the end of the day, there's not much they can do. It's either they fix Kane the Conqueror and let him do his movie, which most of us want, but it's not going to happen. So, better yet, why not bring Tony back? Because it all started with him. It all did. And I'm thinking, like, I'm cool with a lot of people were mad at, like, oh, blah, 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 it's Tony Stark. Why can't we just get a new villain, blah, blah, blah. But I'm thinking about it. It kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense. Why explain about a new character that we don't even know about from another multiverse? And we already did that with the Fantastic Four. How many times are we going to keep doing this shit? Because at this point, everything is getting convoluted. Like, it's all over the place. I'm kind of getting tired of trying to remember these little small details. Like, bro, this is too much. Because this is how I felt when I read the comics. I'm like, bro, this is too much going on. There's too many characters. There's too many plot holes. There's too many stories. There's some characters I don't even give a fuck about, bro. But at the end of the day, like, one way to fix it, why not take the main hero? He justified his actions by taking the bullet, the man that sacrificed himself for everybody in order for everybody to live, to come back from the snap. But what if we made him evil? That's crazy. That's all I gotta say.
I feel you. I feel you. Especially the Russo brothers thing. Like, yo, we gotta get back to formula here. Like, I don't know what y'all gonna do, but thinking about it, fix all that bullshit that happened at the end game, and also the events that happened after Endgame, them acquiring the license to multiple Marvel characters. So you got quite the quite the arsenal to work with, where you can do something with the universe. Where you saw Hugh Jackman, he's confirmed for the movie. You saw Kelsey Grammer, he's confirmed for the movie. So there's definitely going to be some X-Men involved in it. The Fantastic Four, obviously, we still got that movie, so that movie was pretty important. If hence why it came out before the Avengers movie comes out. But you got quite the arsenal to try to, salvage what was fucked up over the last couple of years.
Facts. And if there was only one, if you're gonna give it to the proper hands, you have to give it back to the Russo brothers, because Endgame and Infinity War were amazing. They're masterpieces. If you're gonna give it to someone who's gonna kill it and knock it out the park, it's them. It's them.
My man, they did the best movies in the whole freaking catalog, and that's
no bullshit.
Captain America, Winter Soldier.
And they trying to copy that Captain America 4, Brave New World.
Ain't nothing like it. They tried to.
But it's not the same.
They say with that recipe, you can copy the recipe word for word, but it ain't like the original recipe maker.
Facts. The greatest compliment is what is it called? The greatest compliment is copy. I forget. But basically, by copying somebody's flow is the greatest a form of compliment.
True.
Yeah. And then we got the rumors is you got a 6-man squad, 6 teams versus one person.
6 teams.
6 teams.
6 teams, six people on the squad.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty crazy. And then you got them all against Doctor Doom and his cabal, or his team. And I'm looking forward to it. All I ask is just one tiny little thing. Whether we get it in Doomsday or we get it in Battle World or Secret World, is that we got to get the Thanos versus Doctor Doom scene. I got to get that. That's all I ask. I need it. I need to see this man, Thanos, refuse to kneel to this man and be like, "You are not my god. I'm Thanos," and Doctor Doom just beheads him. That's all I'm asking for. I need it. I need the exact strip right off the comic. That's all I ask. And that's probably going to be in Secret Wars, but who knows? That's all I need.
I think it would be a great way to start off this movie.
Facts. That's all I need. And overall, I'm excited for this. I can't wait.
Can we get a back to back? Can we get that? Well, it'll be a great way to start off this movie, along with him doing something to Kang the Conqueror.
Facts. I could see that. There's 2 movies they're gonna lead forward, is Doctor Strange 3 and Spider-Man. And how they go about it is gonna I don't know. As we know, Doctor Strange is trying to stop whatever incursions with the daughter of Dormammu, which I can't remember her name. And then Spider-Man 4 is going to be with the Punisher and Savage Hulk coming back to reprise his role, Mark Ruffalo, which I don't understand the storyline with that yet, but it's supposed to lead an exact moment that everything shifts over, and Doctor Strange is supposed to lead into Doctor Doom. So this is going to be crazy.
All right. So a lot to look forward to with the Avengers Doomsday movie. Like I said at the beginning of the pod, that We think that this is the first leaked trailer. Seen Captain America, Steve Rogers, Chris Evans is returning in this movie. So I'll make a quick transition to Street Fighter, because I believe the last pod we did, it was right before the trailer actually dropped. Now, I'm gonna let you have the floor on this, because to be honest, we in the actual trailer, we really didn't get much as far as story wise, but based off the characters that we get, it's looking like it's going to be a pretty interesting story based off of Akuma, and we get Bison in the same movie.
Hey, all I can say is, yo, it's a great time to be alive, yo. Bison and Akuma in one movie. I mean, what more can you ask for? Overall, watching this trailer, I'm not gonna lie, I'm loving it, but I'm also kind of like, this is campy, cheesy, like it's too good to be true. I mean, we got a cast that's pretty crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you, I didn't think this movie was actually real until I actually saw the trailer. I'm like, oh shit, okay, so they're actually serious about this. This is crazy. But overall, we get a lot of fan service. We got a lot of your favorite Street Fighter characters. The only thing I gotta say, because I gotta get out of my chest, there's only one character that I'm missing, and I'm kind of blown. I don't know if they're saving it for the next trailer, or they're not going to have this character in this movie whatsoever, and that's my one of my favorite characters, Sagat. I ain't see him on the trailer. I don't know if you saw him, but I don't see him on the list, and I don't see him on the casting.
I don't think he's in the movie.
I don't see him in the casting at all, so I'm kind of a little upset about that. But overall, we get M. Bison.
Why? Okay, so before you even skip over it, why are you so hot about the Sagat thing? Because I like Sagat. He's a henchman of Bison, so
he's more than just a henchman for Bison, bro. He's also the a rival for Ryu. Ryu's the reason why he got the scar on his chest.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, if you remember the Alpha, he did dog Ryu in the beginning when he was still learning his ways of his martial arts training with Goken.
So Sagat, no Sagat. I don't see him in the cast, and they've been pretty loud of how they was going to promote this movie at this past event this past weekend. So
facts, and
they made sure they all was on that stage, except I don't think I saw 50 Cent up there. Like, they all ride in a limo, but 50 Cent wasn't in that mug.
Nah, this is the crazy part. It's going to be 32 years since we got a Street Fighter movie. The last one was released in 1994. I was 4 years old when this movie came out. I mean, overall, whether you hate it or love it, it still has a special place in my heart. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm looking forward to this. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I really do think Mortal Kombat's gonna have a challenge on their hands with this movie. Like I stated earlier, it is a little bit cheesy. It does seem like it's taking itself too serious, but I'm okay with that. I'm gonna keep my hands crossed and make sure that it's positive. But overall, we got M. Bison, Zangief, Balrog, Akuma, Blanca, Gal, who's that? Vega, and Dan. Chun-Li. Am I missing somebody else too? We got Ken and Ryu. I feel like we got E Honda, Dhalsim,
Guile.
And I feel like there's one other person I'm missing.
You're missing Akuma.
Oh, did I say Akuma already? Oh, you can't forget Akuma.
Yeah, you ain't say Akuma. Balrog.
But overall, I don't know about you, bro, but I'm excited for this movie, and I like the uniforms. I like the costumes, man. I don't know what else to say because I'm kind of excited about it because there's so much stuff that we got to talk about. But it's just crazy how they just they released this trailer, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't taking this movie serious. I just thought it was hearsay. I just thought it was full of shit. And then even when supposedly they were starting the film, I was kind of thinking like this movie is gonna suck. I mean, as we all know it, 1994 Street Fighter wasn't taken serious. I don't know what you think about it, but overall, it was an okay movie. I was surprised we never got a sequel to it.
Mm. In regards to this trailer that we just watched again, it's I'm glad we got some type of content about the movie because they kept it such so hush hush for a long time. Like we got little reminders here and there. Yeah, we're filming. Yeah, this person is confirmed to be this actor has been confirmed to play this character in the movie, but really not much. So yeah, it's good to see some type of content. I do agree with some of these casting decisions, um, especially the Ryu one because I've seen him in this TV show that I've been watching a lot of lately. I'm a little bit curious of what they're going to do with the story because, like I said, this Akuma. Because remember, we did a video. We did a video of the possible plot of the Street Fighter movie, and
Mm-hmm.
we were too busy trying to figure out are we going to move past this Bison thing because it's kind of getting kind of old, and then focus more on this Akuma thing. But we definitely get a treat where we get both Akuma and M Bison in the movie. So my next question for you is like in your experience with Street Fighter, like what could we possibly do with these two characters in the movie?
We could probably tackle Street Fighter 2 and how Ryu is trying to stop M. Bison's Shadow Lu from conquering Earth and taking over the government, and then having Akuma stopping M. Bison and then challenging Ryu in order to access his inner dark self, aka the Dark Hado. I mean, at this point, like I'm not picky about the storyline. I mean, I could really care less about the storyline as long as, to be honest with you, I'm not gonna really take this movie that serious. I'm just gonna say I see a lot of fan service, and however this goes, I'm okay with it. I just want to see the hands. I want to see the fight scenes. I just want to see people just getting their asses beat. And overall, I want to see, how do I say this? The energy attacks. I want to see the Hadoken. I want to see the Shoryukens. I want to see the psycho energy that M Bison got. I just need that. I need that fan service. And overall, I need the taunts. I need them to taunt each other. I need it just like the video game, bro. I'm fiending for it.
One thing about these video game adaptations, it never turns out the way you want it to be. So
True. I feel like I'm asking for too much, but like the kid inside me is like, I
I
need
don't
it,
want
bro.
it. So that's the thing. I really don't want it to. I'm like the total opposite. I don't want it to
So
because
you okay with no energy? Just straight martial arts?
they do got to have some type of energy to make it somewhat like the video game, but it doesn't need, for me it doesn't need to be a straight action movie. It definitely has to have some type of plot to it.
I'm not saying don't have a storyline, but what I'm saying is I feel like that shouldn't be the main focus. Like that's one thing I have a pet peeve with Mortal Kombat is that there wasn't enough fight scenes. It was just a lot of
Which
talking.
one?
The first one.
The
No,
one that
no,
came
the
out,
one that just recently came out. The
there wasn't
reboot.
enough fight scenes.
There wasn't enough fight scenes for in my personal opinion. I'm not saying there was no fight scenes. I'm just saying that it was a lot of fan service when it came to Sub Zero and Scorpion. I mean, I'm cool with that. Don't get me wrong, but I felt like there was a lot of talking within the middle of the movies. Like I don't want to see talking. I just want to see action. I just want to see the fight scenes. I want to see martial arts. I just want to see people get their ass kicked. That's it.
Man, I
And
saw
I feel like
when
Street
we
Fighter
saw
could be that
Jax get
movie.
murked in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Oh yeah, you already know. But that wasn't enough for me. I'm like, bro, like I could care about the main character being an ascendant of Scorpion and his beef with Sub Zero. I just want to see the hands, and I want to see the fade being run on somebody. I just want to see the ass whoopings, and I want to see the fatalities. That's all I'm asking for. I mean, overall, like, don't get me wrong. I do like Mortal Kombat. I do think Mortal Kombat 2 is going to be better, but it's not, we're not talking about that. I'm only bringing that up because I feel like Street Fighter could be something different. Like, okay, cool. Let's have a storyline. I'm cool with it. We could also talk about the Alpha, like the Street Fighter Alpha, like lore, like how Ken and Ryu are like young and still trying to learn like their martial arts and learn their place in the world, and they come across M Bison in the Shadow Lu, and Ken is trying. Ken is friends with Ryu, and they have this friendly competition with each other, this friendly rivalry. But then Ryu is trying to control his darkness, and also trying to control his dark Hado, his dark energy. And Akuma is forcing him to try to cross that path. But also, too, let's have where Goken, his master, is slain by Akuma, and all he thinks about is revenge. I'm cool with that. We don't need to talk too much. It just needs to be flash sequences, have the fight scenes, have Akuma just come down there with his energy, just like slaying his master, and then boom. Like, there's a martial arts tournament, and then Akuma's just the main villain, but he's not really that important. Like, he's kind of, not saying he's put to the sideline. He's important, but he's not the main focus, is Ryu and Akuma, because that's all we waiting for. If we go back to Street Fighter 2, like when Ryu was fighting M. Bison in the beginning of the game, Akuma comes down and slices him and then destroys that body, because as we know, M. Bison has clones. He transfers his energy, his soul spirit into another body. He never stays in the same body. He always transfers his body. So his age is like, it's never really proven, but he's been around for a while. So this Akuma destroys M. Bison and then challenges Ryu and see who's the best of the best of their martial art. I'm cool with that too. I just want to see the hands. I just want to see martial arts. I don't want to see no talking. I just want to see straight action martial arts. That's it. And you can have like, like, oh no, like I gotta figure out like the Hadouken. Cool, save the Hadouken for the end. I'm cool with that too. But come on, bro. This is Street Fighter, bro. This ain't Street Fighter unless you throw the Hadoukens randomly, like Hadouken, Hadouken, Hadouken. You know people spamming the shit out of that attack. We gotta have that.
I feel you. So before we close this thing out, last question. Which movie are you most looking forward to? Mortal Kombat 2 or Street Fighter?
Ooh, this is hard. I'm not gonna lie to you because I'm more of a Street Fighter fan. And even though we only got a teaser trailer, I'm kind of looking forward to the Street Fighter.
I gotta say Mortal Kombat.
If I'm gonna say Mortal Kombat, it's because we get more fatalities.
I'm going to say Mortal Kombat because a lot of people don't like the first movie because it's somewhat of a prequel that we never experienced before. But in this movie coming up, this is where we get to the niche of Mortal Kombat, where we're actually participating in the tournament and we're getting more characters. So, and also Johnny Cage. That's people's fan favorite is Johnny Cage. We get a Johnny Cage. So, and they're really promoting the hell out of Johnny Cage with these trailers, not exactly calling it Mortal Kombat, but they say uncaged with Mortal Kombat in the corner. So it's looking like Johnny Cage is going to be the main character for this movie. But we get Shao Kahn in the movie, and that's probably the most exciting thing because we really didn't get to see what happened with Shang Tsung. So us getting Shang Tsung and Shao Kahn in the same movie, like that's going to be freaking dope. But with Street Fighter again, to be honest, I need to see a little bit more before I'm like on board. Where I'm like, man, like another Street Fighter movie, because I feel like we got a lot of Street Fighter movies out there now. This is the second live action one, but we've had quite a few Street Fighter movies opposed to Mortal Kombat.
Give or take, there's a lot of animation films out there and TV shows. I mean, I want to say there's maybe like 3 or 4 animation films, and there's like probably like 3 TV shows that didn't go nowhere. Street Fighter got like 1 TV show and a bunch of movies, like animation though. Like live action has only been 1. Now this one is coming up. Mortal Kombat had 2.
Yeah, and then there was this big thing. I want to say it was a fan-made Mortal Kombat, but it was Michael J. White. He was supposed to be playing Jax, and like it
Oh my
just
god, I forgot about that. I
yeah.
forgot
So
about
like
that. Damn.
it had my hopes up for like the longest time for that movie. And then I'm like constantly checking in, constantly checking in. I'm like, yo, what's going on? There's no Mortal Kombat, and then come to find out that was not even. It wasn't. It was an afterthought. So yeah, I'm more excited about Mortal Kombat. I'm sorry.
I feel you. But overall, it's a great time to be alive. Jason Momoa is actually in this movie playing Blanca. As for Street Fighter fans, we all know that Blanca is actually Charlie, who's actually best friends with Gal. So that'd be pretty cool if we actually get to see him before he turns Blanca. But seeing him this weekend that has passed by, to see him as Lobo and Blanca, that's pretty crazy. And overall, we can't forget about 50 Cent. 50 Cent playing Borat. This is crazy. And he kind of looks like him. But from what I heard from the get-go, from the rumors is online, is that supposedly after this movie comes a hit, he's going to get a TV show. And he might be the main focus of this movie. He seems to be the
TV
biggest.
show.
This is just rumors. This is speculations. This is what I'm hearing all over the internet. I don't know if this is true. I'm just putting it out there. He seems to be the biggest actor in this movie.
You're saying 50 Cent Balrog?
Yeah. Besides Jason Momoa, I think Jason Momoa, he's the biggest actor in this movie, but I think he might have a small role in this movie. But they seem to be hyping 50 Cent in this movie. So from what I heard from the get-go is that he's gonna get a TV show. I don't know how it's gonna work. Okay, that's cool. If that's true, I'm cool with it. Like, we can have spin-offs. I'm cool with it. Like I said, the only way I can see this franchise surviving is not having storylines that are focused too much on talking. We just need to have fight scenes, tournaments, and you can introduce other characters that way too. But I don't see how Balrad's going to be the main focus on a TV show. But as we all know, we got the Penguin, and that shit was a fucking bomb. That shit was phenomenal.
Masterpiece.
So with good writing, you can make it happen. Overall, like, 50 Cent doing his thing. We know we got his documentary on Netflix. So, I mean, let's see how it goes. And he got power and all that. Overall, this is pretty cool. I feel excited. Like, the inner child of me is coming out. The Avengers is coming out. Street Fighter's coming out. Mortal Kombat's coming out. I mean, what more do we want, bro? Like, it's a great time to be alive.